Not an ad.
Not an ad. I did not name the app. If you want to get sponsored, don't have a license that screws over content creators.
Whoa, but true.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello, that's me, Itisdpayne, as I try to find... Which one? What episode are we on? We're on
5.
5.
The Inconceiving.
There we go. It scrolled down a little bit farther. Yeah. So, number 5. So 4 was some of the codes don't have deep meanings. But number 5 is you can crack all the end credit cryptograms. Substitution ciphers such as Kaiser or Atbash, I don't know if I'm saying those right, were used in the show. They were cranked up to more difficult ones throughout the seasons. The ciphers sometimes gave hints to episodes, but there were times that they just would mean random things. How do you crack these codes? Well, just listen to the theme song and at the end credits in reverse hear the instructions. Who would do that?
There's some people that watch the show enough. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I know they were there, and I'm just like, okay.
If you say so. But yes, if you haven't...
I don't think I would ever do that with any show.
Yes, if you have not gotten a hint yet through our little clue and the name of the episode, we are going through our Gravity Falls. We're on episode 5 now. If you want to start from the beginning, they should all be around at this point. Or at least is the first one up? 2 of them are up.
Sorry, my headphones were dying. I had to plug them in.
I was trying to think based on the timeline of things. Since you like to ruin the timeline, I wanted to ruin the timeline.
It's fun.
To say that at least 2 episodes are currently live, right? It's been 2 Mondays into the new year?
Yes. As I open up the right browser that saves all that. I was literally thinking about that this morning, and I was like, I believe that we are good. Oh, yeah. People liked episode 2. And by that, I mean we just got one more listen than normal.
Than average. Above average. I'll take it.
Yeah. Woo. But yeah.
Yes. So we are in zooming mode because I talked a lot about random, mostly RPGs that shall not be named.
Hey, I also contributed.
We talked about RPGs that shall not be named.
We started our call saying, okay,
we don't have
anything to share about, which proceeded to go directly into noodle talk, memes, and then the stuff.
If you want to know more about noodles, go. I thought I mentioned it during the podcast.
I think you did.
Episode, yeah.
Or you guys can look at my tweet from yesterday. I don't know if Hop saw it.
I think I did, and I chuckled, and then I closed my phone. I try not to be on that particular social media thing, because everything I see on there, I'm like, I'm upset. I have, like, a few fun tidbits of things from friends, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. I'm excited for you. And then it goes into, did you see in the news? And I'm like, shh, you're not a reliable news source.
Did they delete my tweet? I don't see it.
I think I still see it in my tagged. Here, let me make sure I interact with it.
You don't have to interact with it.
Too late.
Oh, okay. Oh, there it is. For some reason, it wasn't showing up on my thing. But yeah, I said Hoppocalypse showed me silly, expensive noodles, and now receives ads for them everywhere. Moral of the story is, beware of Hop showing you things. Which is true. That's how this season of the podcast is going. Hop showed me a thing, and
I did say watch Gravity Falls.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Since we are short on time, I was thinking about it because I watched the episode today.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was the episode that was the seal, okay.
I get it now.
Now, I don't know if it was I get it now, but I'm like, I don't want to say sold because I was enjoying it, but I'm like, okay, this is I'm really liking what they're doing here.
I think this is the first episode that you really, rather than the supernatural just being like, oh, just kind of sprinkled into, because like the first handful of episodes, naturally, world building, introduction to characters and everything like that. And then this is the episode that they go, all right, we said there was weird stuff happening, so here you go. Here's all the weird stuff that happens in this town.
Yeah. But like I think it's also a good episode where it introduces, like, it deepens a character, like it gives them a personality pretty much, as well as introducing another character without having to be like, okay, the whole episode's around them. Like, you instantly know who, I forget their name, Guitar Boy. Yes, you instantly know who Robbie's character is
in like 4 lines of dialogue,
and like within like the first 30 seconds of meeting him.
Yeah.
And like you really kind of get a feel for everybody else in that show, but it's like as time goes on, Robbie's a little bit more important than the rest. But as you said, we're short on time, so I will. Yeah,
I'll see if I start getting the message like you wrap up the podcast stuff, then I'll be like, okay, let's wrap up the podcast stuff.
Yeah. So.
But luckily, we aren't in our movie era, where in our movie era, we talk for an hour and a half about a movie that was an hour and a half. We're talking about a 20-minute episode of Gravity Falls for an hour and a half. All right. I also rolled. I rolled really well this week.
Oh, yeah, you're going. I got a 13.
Oddly enough, I do recommend to have this app on your phone, because my life is full of so much decision making, and I'm like, hey guys, what do you want? And they're like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, we're not doing this. I'm like, give me 2 to 3 options and we're rolling a D4 or a D6. It's always in my pocket. You don't have a choice.
No, I normally just tell people like, hey, make a decision or I'm not going, and then a decision gets made.
Oh, and also for audio listeners, I showed on camera that I have the dice rolling app on my phone, and I had rolled a 19 this week.
Yes, and not an ad.
Not an ad. I did not name the app. If you want to get sponsored, don't have a license that screws over content creators.
Whoa, but true.
Anyway, being a nerd is an interesting time when capitalists are like, nerds have money?
Yeah, and then it's also a fun time when those nerds are like, dude, you're talking to a person that played a 90-hour game and still has the first health potion they got. You ain't getting this. Yeah, we read
stuff. There's a lot of rules lawyers in this business.
Okay, hold up. Now I gotta find the other meme. I'm gonna find this meme. We don't have to go into... Oh my goodness, why did I just get 3 notifications? I know one of them is from you.
Maybe 2.
Oh no. I'll see that in a second. But yeah, we'll go in as I find this meme to send to you, and that is like almost word for word what you said.
All right, so for a synopsis of what to expect in the episode, I realize we haven't done that every episode, because previous episodes we like rank things, or we like tier things, or we give them ratings out of something, but we're just enjoying Gravity Falls, talking about it, and in the end we're talking about what characters were our favorite from this episode, who we felt we were most like, and then we have a running spreadsheet to see through the 40 episodes of this show who we end up relating to the most. Because like you said, there's a lot of interesting character growth. So like the first 4 episodes, you're kind of like, I kind of get what they're going for, character motivation wise. But now, like you said, 5 and on, you really go, oh, we've already introduced them. Now we're going to build everything up from there.
Yeah. So it reminds me of... there's another show that came out, I don't know if it was around the same time this did, but they pretty much said, like, hey, you need to get to episode 6. Like, the first 5 episodes are meh, but if you get to episode 5 or 6, like, then you're in. And I'm like, no, that's too long. And I know I just said, like, hey, this is the episode that, like, clicked for me. And I was like, okay, this is more than just a fun show. That's the thing. It starts off as a fun show. Like, I was already enjoying my time, and so it's not like, oh, you got to struggle through these first 4 episodes.
It wasn't a slog, yeah.
They're fun times. So
All right. So we open to essentially Stan saying that he's got to go and be busy. I forget what it is. He's going out and tells them to start taking care of things in the place. And then Wendy's like, you know what? We don't have to do that. I can show you guys where I like to hang out. And they're like, you like to hang out somewhere? And she's like, ooh, what's behind this curtain? A mysterious ladder. Let's all go up. And Seuss is like, what? But Dipper excitedly is like, no, I can hang. I can do this. This is fun. And they all go to the roof, and Wendy has herself her little spot where she has like a cooler full of pine cones, and she put a target on the totem pole that's outside of the mystery shack, and she like throws the pine cones at it. And Dipper and Mabel join in, and I think Dipper's hits the roof of a car, and the alarm starts going off, and she's like, bonus points, and goes to give him a high five. And at this moment, you realize Dipper's hit puberty.
Dipper realized girls exist.
Yeah, he sees her in a new light suddenly, like her hair in the wind, and you get the little, like, sparkle, sparkle.
I will say one of the things that did make me laugh about that whole scene was they're like, he's like, okay, he wants to go to the roof. And like I was just saying, Seuss is like, I don't know, guys. And everyone's like, yeah. Dipper's like, wait, we're allowed to go on there? It's like, dude, you went on the roof already.
Yeah,
like,
for fighting the wax figures and stuff.
But it's like, it's not like this is a new thing. That it's like, it feels like, wait, we're allowed up there? Like, for the first time, it's like, guy, you've been up there.
Yes, and then while the car alarm is going off, Wendy's group of teenage friends shows up, and Wendy basically asks Dipper to not tell on her as she goes to hang out with her friends. And he does the nervous teenage kid laugh, and Mabel's like, ooh, somebody's in love. And Dipper's like, what? No, we're just like, she's like just the coolest, like, cool person that's like really cool. Again, normal teenager stuff, which I think is fun too, because I feel like a lot of shows have teenagers and you're like, can you stop talking? But I don't dislike any of the teenagers in the show. They actually feel like people to me.
Yeah. It's it's also another fun line where oh, Dipper's in love. And he's like, no, it's not like I'm sitting there thinking about her
that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not lying awake at night just thinking about her, unable to sleep. And then it immediately cuts to him going, oh no. Wide awake in bed.
Yeah, it's very much like if this was rated, if this wasn't a children's TV show, it'd be the moment where the PG-13 movie would drop its one F-bomb as the main character stares at the ceiling, realizing
comes to realization,
the world that they have now entered.
So the following day, Mabel and Wendy are just goofing off being girls. They're dancing around, having a fun time, and they're like, hey, Dipper, want to join us? And he has his famous clipboard thing that I've seen as a GIF everywhere that's pretending to write something down as he's pretending not to watch them as they dance. And Dipper's like, oh, I don't dance or anything. And Mabel does the lore drop of, you used to do the little Lammy dance for Mom. And Wendy's like, the what? Dipper's like, no, stop talking.
Yeah, that does the same sign, like, shut your lips, shut your lips.
But then Wendy's friends show up again, and Dipper, I forget, does the conversation go that Dipper asks to go? Or is it...
It's before she leaves the work. They're like, hey, can we go? And then it's they're
Dipper lies about their
it's like,
age.
we're 13. And then as soon as Wendy leaves, I forget, Mabel says something on the lines like,
is it a leap year?
Yeah.
Did we have 2 birthdays?
Yeah, she's just like, what? But yeah.
Yeah, so then Dipper keeps trying to subvert Mabel, who's like, oh, you just want to go because you like Wendy. And then he does the whole hair flip thing, so then all her hair's in her face. And she's sticking her tongue out through her hair. So then we get introduced to the friends. I think the first scene with the friends is them with the kid with a van being held upside down and they're trying to throw jelly beans into his belly button.
Yeah. Still quite a feat.
Quite a feat. Yeah, and they're introduced. There's Robbie, who's the guitar guy. Thompson, I think, is the one that his mom's van is the one they drive around. Tambry is the girl on her phone all the time. And then Lee and Nate. And I always forget, which one is the one with the tattoos? Lee or Nate?
I don't know, but I can find out right now. Nate.
Nate's the one with the tattoos.
Lee is the long
hair.
long-haired blonde.
Yeah. And then, like you said, this small introduction to Robbie. He's leaning on the van on one foot. He has his guitar out, and he's like being all moody. And he brags. He's like, I spray painted the tower, so I'm famous. Dipper's like, oh, the giant muffin? He's like, it's an explosion. Everyone's like, oh, this looks like a muffin.
It's like, you can't blame him because it definitely looks like a muffin, but at the same time, teenager be teenager.
And then Robbie also makes the comment like, oh, Wendy, are you babysitting? And Wendy's like, no, they're cool, I promise. So then they end up saying that they want to go to the Dusk to Dawn abandoned convenience store, and then it's supposedly do they know it's haunted before going?
They know that people died in there.
People died in there, okay.
Because there's throughout conversations like, dude, it's not haunted, just chill out.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember because, again, this is one of those things, I've seen it so many times, so sometimes the order of things, even though I just watched it, I'm like, I feel like I missed the line.
And to be fair, guys, like I think last episode we said Hop watched it like right before we started recording. I watched it literally an hour ago, which is also why we started late.
Yeah, I watched it last night. But yes. So
okay, so real quick, Mabel breaks the fourth wall asking if it's a leap year, and the series takes place in 2012 when it premiered, and I think 2012 was a leap year.
Yes, because it's every 4.
Yeah. So yeah.
Fun. But yes, so then I love that they all get into the van, like Thompson's van, and as soon as they get in, they're like, please don't punch my mom. My mom asked that you don't punch the roof anymore. And they all looked and then go, bah! Start punching the roof. Like, Thompson.
It's like, I don't know why she's worried about punching the van. That thing is all
beat up,
scribbled all over.
Yeah, it has all these different messages on it that Mabel keeps seeing in the back. I think the first time she sees it, it's
you stink, and then
Mabel crosses it out and writes, you look nice today.
Yeah.
Which comes back later. So then
she's like, I'm really gonna make someone's day with this.
So okay, so they arrive, and when Dipper asks about why it shut down, Nate is the one that said it was a murder. And then Lee says that a couple died in there, and it's been supposedly haunted. So they all jump over, and Dipper gets a little, like, they start teasing Dipper, saying, "Oh, you're just a kid, you're a scaredy cat," and all that. And Dipper's like, "No, I'm gonna keep going." And Robbie tries to get through the door, and he can't get through it. So Dipper's like, "Can I have a chance?" And Robbie's like, teenager things.
Crumple.
So then Dipper ultimately ends up crawling up onto a crate on the top of the roof and crawls in and then lets them all in. And Nate gives him the new nickname, Dr. Funtimes. And he really leans into it. He tries to be Dr. Funtimes throughout the whole episode, even though him as a person is so rigid. He's like, no, this is not what I do.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I can do that. Oh my gosh, no, I can't.
So Wendy's like, do you think this stuff works? And they turn on the light switches and they find out the power works. So they all start running around to all this different memorabilia. The thing that I try to remember is Dipper has a newspaper and he brushes dust off of it and it says 1995. And it said what, like, stuffed crust pizza is a new craze or something like that. Mabel ends up finding Smile Dip that was supposedly banned in America, and it has "do not sell" like tape wrapped all over it. And then what was it? The teenage boys start like dumping ice on themselves and all that, and otherwise like eating ice cream, like very cute.
Everyone's eating something.
Yeah.
Which, I'll be honest, I have to pause right here. That store's been closed since 1995. and it's 2012, and they're eating the food. There's like, first off, you know that place is haunted if it doesn't have rodents running around eating all that food that was just sitting out. Yeah. Second, like, they're gonna die. Like, it's, I don't know. This is like, I think my brain doing like delving into horror a little bit too much is like, okay, power's on, which I can understand for some businesses having the power on so that way like it comes on at night, that way people can see if doing exactly what is happening in this episode. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there's bagged ice that's still there, ice cream unmelted,
and not freezer burned.
Yeah, the fact that that arcade game is still in there, that would have been taken. It's like there's just so much stuff that's there that it's like, hold up.
You guys should have thought twice about this. But yeah, so we have Mabel hallucinating because she decides to not only just like taste the smile dip, she's like, oh, let me just inhale it. Yes. I forgot that was in this episode. I was like, for some reason, it's such an iconic moment for her. But yeah, Wendy is saying, you know, this has been a great night. Thanks for getting this all set up. Thanks for being cool. Everybody's bonding. And the bonding for the boys is they're dumping ice down Thompson's pants. And they go, we run out of ice. So then Dipper is like, oh, I'll get the ice. And when and then the hauntings start to slowly happen. He opens the ice box and he sees like a brain with all its like nerves floating with just eyeballs and a mouth. And he freaks out and everyone's like, what was it? Oh, yeah, so they all come and check on him because Mabel's incapacitated in the corner because she's imagining dolphins on dolphins with fists shooting lasers and dogs that are talking to her that are the mascot for the candy that are like, do you want to eat my sweet paw? And she's like, of course I do. And she's just mouthing and
yeah, it was just great just seeing her just like catatonic, just like just in the corner. It was a great way to get her out of the way to stop embarrassing Dipper.
Yeah, for some time to make him look cool. And they end up finding the Dancy Pants Revolution game. And I think, what did they say? Oh, it's that game that they tricked people into exercising with.
Yep. And then, yeah. And that's when the hauntings continue.
Yes. Dipper, as he's standing there watching, he looks over into the reflection of everybody and everybody's skeletons. And they start freaking out. Oh, and then I forgot about this bit in the very beginning. When they all leave to run off to hang out with Wendy's friends, Stan sits down at a TV and he's like, where's the remote? Yes. And then it starts the old black and white drama about a countess and like an heir of the court and very like Pride and Prejudice kind of like older stuff. He's like, no, give me the remote.
He's like, kids, I can't find the remote. I'm too lazy to get up. And then it's just, it keeps going. He's like, no, just screaming at the TV.
And then, and then Dipper tries to call and he's so engrossed. He's like, you had your chance at the cotillion.
Now I have to look something up now because he has ice cream at that point, and I was like, did he have ice cream when he sat down?
But he was willing to get up for the ice cream, but not for the remote.
So I'm gonna look into that real quick. Well,
okay.
I just saw what the next episode is, and that's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah. So then, Mabel keeps hallucinating.
Confirmed. He got up for ice cream.
Good for him. He found a piece of media he didn't expect to love and fell in love with it. But yes.
And no one was there to embarrass him.
So Mabel's hallucinating. Dipper tries to get her out of the hallucination to help him figure out what's going on. And she's just too far gone. He's like, how many have you had? She's like, 17.
But that's when she has the best hallucination, which is a dolphin that she's riding with like just jacked arms. And then like the arms, 2 more arms sprout up, so it's got 4 arms, and then they sprout dolphin faces that start vomiting rainbows.
It's beautiful.
Apparently that was based off of one of the, I was scrolling down and where did it go? I just saw it. The director John Ashima and the dolphin's name is Oshima, and it's also a reference to a show that Alex Hirsch pitched to Disney originally alongside Gravity Falls. It was a reference to one of the 3 shows with Gravity Falls together that he pitched.
Okay, that's fun. So then amongst all of this and then freaking out, they end up coming upon the chalk outline of where the couple died previously, and they start doing the dare, like, I dare you to go lie in it, and Dipper's like, no, I think that's a bad idea. And they're like, I thought you were Dr. Funtimes. I guess you're a buzzkill. And Tambry's like, what are you, like 9? So Dipper gets upset and goes and lays in it. And then it causes everything to freak out and the ghosts to actually appear. The first thing is Tambry disassembles and disappears. And they check social media. And what does she say? It's like, I'm totally stuck in space or stuck in a void or something.
What Tamby writes?
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's something like that, which is like, yeah, I'm stuck in here and like kind of complaining about Dipper. Because like, yeah, as you're saying, everyone at this point kind of turns on him.
Yeah. Robbie tries to run, but he realizes it's locked and tries to throw the like cashier's till, and that doesn't work. And
I like when they look at Tamby's phone and it's just emojis.
And then Thompson's not allowed to finish Dancy Pants
Revolution.
There you go.
It might have just been highlighted as I scrolled up.
But yeah, so he's stuck in the game, and Lee floats and gets like ripped apart and gets sucked into a cereal box cover. Mabel floats up and ends up becoming completely possessed by one of the ghosts. And basically Dipper opens up the journal eventually. He's like, there's a reason, right? And he keeps trying to tell everybody, there's a reason the ghosts are acting like this. Everybody calm down. If we do what the ghosts want, then it'll stop. And they're like, no, guys, we're freaking out. And like trying to run away. And who is it? Nate gets turned into a hot dog.
Yeah. I think you said them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we actually see what happens to Robbie? He just like disappears.
I forget what happened. I just remember he tries to throw stuff through the thing. Or does he get knocked out? Because he's like lying by the door at one point, right? Oh, does the cashier till like hit the door and then hit him in the head?
No, it disappears, and then like I don't think anything happens to Rob. Like he just is taken out. Like he might just pass out, but like I don't remember anything happening with Robbie. Because as you're saying, Thompson gets stuck in the Dancy Pants game.
Nate's
Tambry
a hot dog.
Nate's a hot dog. Lee gets stuck in the cereal box, and
Tambry's in
gets
her phone.
She gets stuck in the security TV.
Oh yes, the security TV.
Which she's the first one. That's when everyone starts freaking out, and then
Mabel's possessed.
Mabel's possessed very much.
She had the conduit because she was already hallucinating from the smile dip.
It very much reminded me of Evil Dead.
Yeah. So then we have the Dippers like, who are you guys? What's going on? Because he realizes that everybody who's getting attacked, they emphasize like stinking teenagers. He's like, I have a confession to make. And they're like, what is it? He's like, I'm actually 12, technically not a teenager. And they unpossess Mabel. Or no, I'm mixing it up. Right?
No, you're right. Because like
they didn't unpossess her yet. He just says he's technically not a teen. And then the dead couple shows up as ghosts and explains why they're doing this. And that they had a double heart attack because of the disrespectful teenagers that with their rude hip-hop lyrics dancing out outside of their store when the lyrics were what? Rules are for chumps. Mm-hmm. School is whack.
Yeah, they're just dancing, and it's like it shocked them so much that they died.
Oh, and then he asks what is it that he can do to help his friends? Because Mabel is technically unpossessed. She's just passed out on the floor, and they said
they're just like holding her up, like she's just, and as you said, using her as a conduit.
And they say that they need to see a fun dance, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes and he says he knows one dance, the lammy dance.
But I can't do it because I'm not in a lamb costume.
And of course, a lamb costume, appears.
Oh.
So he does the dance. It's very cute. It's very, something clearly like kids would do.
Mm-hmm.
And it does save everybody because they're so delighted for his little girly dance.
Yes.
That they are willing to unhaunt the premises. And everyone asks what happened. And when he's like, oh, Dipper saved the day. He had to. And Dipper, clearly embarrassed, kind of like looks at his feet. And when he's like, he actually picked up a bat and beat up the ghosts. And they're like, oh, Dr. Funtimes.
Yeah. It's like they're all good.
Mm-hmm. And they all leave together, and basically in the van drive back, they all like pass out from everything being awful. When he's like, I've been scarred for life, so I'm gonna go
stare at a wall.
And Mabel keeps complaining that she's gonna go puke, and she looks down at her own handwriting and says, you look nice today. And she's like, what kind of sick joke is this?
Yeah. And then the most important storyline, back to Stan. And he gets angry at the soap opera and throws the TV out the window.
And blames the kids for not getting him the remote in time.
So, oh man. It's... And that is the gist of the episode. And, yeah, as we said, unfortunately, as much as good as this episode is, we sadly just don't have the time to like fully go into every little thing that's neat about it. But don't worry, guys, next week's episode I saw what it was, and it's a good one, because hey, this episode I think was actually something in the next episode was mentioned in a previous podcast, which I think started my first watch.
Okay, probably. It sounds right for me. I like this revelations and significant events thing that I just saw pop up. Mabel's eye color is revealed to be light green. And I'm like, oh, right, her pupils are so dilated at the one point when she's hallucinating that her eyes are basically only green.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, overall, like, I think this is, like, a good episode because, like, we already know how Mabel and Dipper are, like, and they are themselves. Like, this, like, we've seen Wendy up to this point, and, like, in this episode, like, she turns from, like, cool teenage girl to, like, okay, this is, like, she's still a cool teenage girl, but, like, she's cool, but she's also, like, just a solid person and not, like, gonna throw somebody under the bus. Like, she's, like, because up to this point, the only other interaction we have is, like, I don't want to work, and I broke up with, like, 9 dudes. Well, maybe.
Maybe not the last one.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and then, like, her friends, like, even though we don't get, like, huge introductions to them, like, they still pop up regularly. Like, Robbie a little bit more, but the rest of them we see throughout the episode or throughout the series. Stan, I think this is like we've seen Stan kind of like he's kind of been like not typecast, but it was like kind of like a one-dimensional character. It was just like money, and it's like, okay, I guess I'll hang out with my kids, or not kids, my grand niece and nephew, because I have to. And then it's like, oh wait, he has this whole thing because it's like, I'm just gonna watch a TV show and it's fully engrossed into it, which is like another sprinkle of like expanding his character. So it's like it took like, okay, we think we know these characters, and it's just like, even like the one scene with Seuss of just like, I ain't going to the roof, and just like,
I don't know, guys.
Yeah. And just everything with there, it's like it slowly expands the characters that it's like, okay, so it makes them more than just one dimensional.
In little ways too, like it's fun in the writing like that, where it's not just us sitting there getting exposition dumped. It's like, oh, they're actually just interacting, talking, showing bits of personality through being around the other characters. Out of the other trivia that I was scrolling through, the other one that I thought was interesting is apparently there is another episode where the owners of the Dusk to Dawn appear later. So that'll be fun to kind of refer back to, and then we can see what we think about that. And then And then on the cereal box that Lee gets trapped in, there's a little maze on the back that says, "Can you escape?" And then it's like a really easy.
Well, no, there's
a different exit. Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, there's a different exit, but like where it says freedom, you can't actually get to. Another thing that I don't see in here is like I think we mentioned a little bit earlier, like, and there's a lot of like trivia stuff, but there's like a lot of like I think nods to horror, like
different
movies.
Tropes and different
Well, like just straight up horror movies, like we said, like Mabel, like interacting that like is Evil Dead, a little bit. The gas station, Dusk to Dawn, I think is a reference to the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, which is
at least the name.
Yeah, but it's like two criminals and their hostages unknowingly seek temporary refugee in a truck stop populated by vampires. And it's like truck stop, gas station. Okay, little close, not like full thing, but it's just like okay. It's like, and I haven't seen the movie, so like I don't know if that truck stop is more like a gas station or an actual rest stop. But yeah, it's it feels like there's a couple nods in there. Like as I think I said last episode, little Gideon is in I think like the 5 Club, which is very much I think very close to the casino in Twin Peaks, and the inside is the Red Room.
Yeah. Also, I just saw what the next episode is. That is one of my favorite episodes. I used to have a lot of my social media were different pictures referencing that episode.
Yeah, so I'm glad that the next episode, we got to make sure if we only have a certain amount of time that we shut up and get into it. So, it's mainly me. I can just keep talking.
All right, are you ready for the question?
I would like to have a burger, yes.
That does sound like a good lunchtime meal. My question is, who is your favorite character from this episode?
It's never what I want to do. It's always who do you want to be? Okay, who am I most like?
No, who's your favorite?
Oh, favorite? Oh, okay, we're doing the opposite this time.
Yeah, let's change it up.
Oh man, oh man. I'm trying to think now because it's like Stan is just great, even though he has nothing to do with the episode. It's like
he has like the shortest time in this episode compared to any of the other episodes.
Yeah, which like I read somewhere like this is the start where it's like he's like Stan in episodes later will have like snippets where it's just like his own little mini adventure. Oh man, it's like a tie between Stan and Mabel. I'm giving it to Mabel.
That's very fair. It's a very fun scene with everything going on. I think. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is like I like the Grunkle Stan thing is like a constant. Like okay, this is really funny, but it's like Mabel is just so out there of her like hallucinations and stuff, and to the point where it's just like her like she has her own story where it's just like I'm gonna make someone's day, and then she's like, who would do such a thing? It's I don't know, it is just great.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it to Wendy more so because I just really liked the way her character growth was in this one. Where in all the previous episodes she's very much like I'm just a teenager who's in the background, and now in this one she's like I may not like ever consider myself like the best of friends with Dipper and Mabel, but like they're cool kids. I'll bring them along. I'll watch out for them. I'll look out for them. Like kind of like a big sister kind of vibe, which I think is nice of her.
I'm going to look through the characters real quick. So you can start. Who do you feel the most like?
I think I related to Thompson based on my teenager experience of me being the person that's like, hey guys, can we like be chill today? And everyone's like, no, punch roof. I do what I want. And I'm like, okay, friends, thanks. Okay. I don't think I'm as much of a punching bag as Thompson, though, because Thompson clearly is kind of like the
No, I've heard stories about you in the past, and I would agree. You are not the punching bag. You'll deal with it up to a point, and then
up to a point.
And you're like, okay, listen here.
Other than that, though, I guess, yeah, I'm definitely not Robbie. I'm not Tambry. I don't think I'm Lee and Nate. So that would leave Dipper, Mabel. I guess maybe I lean more into Dipper because Dipper is the nervous, I don't know if we should do it, guys. But then the peer pressure, they're like, do it. And I do it. And I'm like, I don't think I should have done it. Maybe I'll do Dipper. Say I'm most like Dipper this episode.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think through. Like, I like the idea of like, what teenager am I? And then I realized none of them.
No, they're all extremely like, they all fit their role in a teenager group, like kind of like to a stereotype almost.
It's like if I had to choose one, Tambry might be close, but it's like I wasn't on my phone like that. I just didn't talk a whole lot with, like, I talked, but
yeah, I guess
like,
if you replace the phone with a book, I could see myself as Tamara. It's like, this is the most Hops looked up from a book in ages.
Yeah. So, oh man, I'm not the ghost couple because it's like
that's a good point. I do dislike teenagers, but I don't think I would die to lyrics that are homework's whack, tucking shirts is for fools. I looked up the lyrics.
And that's the thing. It's like everyone is such an extreme that I'm like, I don't know who I would be the most like. And it's like I dress. I guess like
what's
Robbie.
What's your likelihood of eating expired candy?
Okay, so to be honest, I was thinking about that. And I'm like,
we have talked about ordering cursed candies, and we have done the cursed sodas.
I have to choose Mabel, and I have a story why. So, Mabel will be my answer. So, for people who don't know, I used to be a youth pastor, and I used to, before I was like an intern at a church and helped ran events, and like one of the things we had was a winter event, like kind of retreat. Well, we had, and I was friends with them. They were at the college I was at. They came up to play music for the group, and are you familiar with the game Chubby Bunny?
Yes.
Okay. For people who don't know, Chubby Bunny is you keep shoving marshmallows in your mouth, say Chubby Bunny until you can't say it, and you just make a big mess. Little did I know, and found out, and the youth pastor at the time, when I didn't run it by him, found out that Chubby Bunny is not only illegal, but is a big no-no in the state of New York because of the unintentional deaths that happen from it. And it's specifically named in their insurance claim of don't do. I didn't know this. But anyway, that's what we did. And like I did it a little bit different because it was just like we only had a certain amount of time, and so it's like, hey, just stick 5 marshmallows in your mouth, say Chubby Bunny, and then the first one to eat them all wins. And it's like, so that's what we were doing. So, and I asked the band, like, would you be okay doing this? And the lead singer was like, he's like, I don't like marshmallows. I'm like, you don't have to if you don't want to. And he's like, and everyone like, it's okay, we'll do it. And so like we had like 5 guys come up and do it. We had 5 girls, and then it's like, okay, let's do the band. And so we all gave it to them. And the lead singer's just like, he goes, eats it, and then like chews it for 2 seconds, and then immediately spits it up in his hand, just like, ugh. And I'm like, and everyone's just like, oh, and I'm like, and welcome to the thought process of me, because I sat there, looked at it, no thought, and I was like, grabbed it and ate it in front of everybody, and all the teens were just like freaked out, gross, and it's just,
not only did you do a band activity, you put something in your mouth without thinking twice about it. You are Mabel this episode.
Yep. And I was just like, in my head was like, oh man. And I think the only thought was like, son will find this funny. Just ate it, and like there was like multiple people there, and like people like other pastors that like I had like mature conversations with, and then I'm up on stage eating half chewed marshmallows.
Yeah, I had played Chubby Bunny as a kid, but so yeah, like you said, it's like banned in quite a few places, or like strongly advised, don't even like entertain this idea. Imagine.
I don't think it's as big of a deal now. Like, I don't think it's as big of a thing
it's
now.
not. It's also not a trend now. The trend was Tide Pods for a while. So, you know, it comes full circle on how kids want to, like, ingest things that make themselves, like, make themselves end up in the hospital. But so, imagine the horror when we explained the game to people, when we had this at a family party and started already doing it, when everyone in the family is nurses. And they're like... I explained it to my mom. She's like, "No, you're all guys are gonna die." And I was like, "We already played it. Nobody died."
What you gonna do about it? Like, part of me wants to see like a just because looking at the differences between like generations is just like, yeah, Gen Z like did the Tide Pod stuff, but it's just like, would they even like do the marshmallow? Like, would they even try the Chubby Bunny?
Probably, because it sounds innocent enough. Because before, I think there was also a time period a little bit after I had heard about Chubby Bunny where people were doing like the cinnamon challenge and then the milk challenge, and those were all reactionary because was the cinnamon one and people like breathe it in and like it comes out their nose and they can't stop coughing and tearing up. The milk challenge, people throw up because you can't finish a gallon of milk in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we should start a challenge.
Go take a nap challenge.
Oh. No, I don't want to.
Are you channeling your niece?
No, I think she actually goes to take naps. I don't think
she hasn't hit the age yet where she's fighting them.
I don't know if she does. I think my brother just kind of keeps her going until it's like, okay, you're tired, let's go, and then like helps her like she falls asleep.
Okay.
She's more of like, I don't want to eat dinner, and my brother's like, you have to eat. Please just eat. And then there's me just like goofy uncle, like just like my brother being a dad, just like eat your food, and then I'm sitting across from her, and it's like I found not all the time, but sometimes it works where it's like if I pretend to steal your food, all of a sudden you're gonna eat it, and so like I start doing that, and she's like, no, mine. So
no, I have heard some child psychologists say that you need to make it more like exciting for them. Like they'll say like instead of phrases like, can you just try it, instead you go, how loud is it if you crunch it? Is that the crunchiest food on your plate? Can you tell me what the crunchiest food is that you have? So then it makes the kids feel like they're exploring rather than just like, we're telling you have to do it.
Yeah. It wasn't recorded, but we were talking about social media a little bit and like all the different things we get. I think TikTok and Instagram, I won't go into everything Instagram shows me, but it's like they both think I'm like I don't know, it really depends. I think they both think I'm like a middle-aged mom because I get so many like family like things, and like as Hop and I were talking earlier, Facebook mom style memes. But I also think due to some of the things that show up on my For You page on TikTok, I think they think I'm a lesbian.
What a fun time for the algorithm.
Yeah,
they think you're a single lesbian mom.
Yeah. So
I think that's a great note to end on. Now that
really likes tabletop role playing.
It still checks out, honestly.
So,
it is still within the demographic.
I don't know who this person is, but every once in a while there's just some lady who just chops wood that just randomly shows up on my For You page, and I'm like, you do your thing, I guess. Have fun. Don't understand it, but hey. So yeah. For me having limited time, I did not get yelled at in this last 15 or so minutes. Yeah. So we got close to a normal episode. We did go decently fast, but
we zoomed.
Yeah. Okay, see you guys episode 6. Oh wait, we made our way through the first quarter mark of the first season.
Huzzah, we're doing it.
Yeah, which is the first 8th. I think. Bye!